All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Skin in the Game podcast. So happy to have you here today. Two of my great friends and two very successful entrepreneurs that we have on the show today. As you can tell, I am missing my fearless partner in crime, Tom. He might be back on vacation. We don't really know where he is, but he's not here today. But don't let that fool you. We have an amazing, amazing duo here today for the Skin in the Game pod. So welcome, Nick and Omar, the founders of College Hunks Hauling Junk and the founders of Trash Butler. Welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. It's great to see you guys. And the history is deep here between all of us. I mean, when I first moved to Tampa, you two were the first people I met. You know, we got thrown in that group, Omar, together as entrepreneurs, and it's been amazing ever since.
It's crazy how far Tampa has come from when we started in that group to see where it is today. I think it's been, 12 years?
Yeah, give or take 12 years.
Man, revolutionary in terms of where Tampa is now.
Unbelievable. And we're going to come back to that because I know you guys care about Tampa more than anything. Just a few weeks ago, I went to the screening of a movie that these guys produced around College Hunks Hauling Junk and what they did for the community during Hurricane Milton and Helene. Just absolutely amazing. We'll tell you guys how to watch that. But let's talk about you guys. Talk about your story. It is one of the most fascinating and interesting stories. Nick, kick us off. How did the whole thing start with College Hunks Hauling Junk?
Yeah, so Omar and I went to high school together. We like to say we became partners in crime in high school. We became partners in business thereafter. We actually met in detention, of all places. Summer before our senior year of college, we were home for summer vacation. His mom had a beat-up cargo van. She looked at Omar and said, go do something with the van, be productive. And I think looked him up and down and said, you guys could be like college hunks who haul junk.
And maybe false advertising a little bit.
Because you weren't yet in college, right?
No, we were in college. It was actually the summer before our senior year.
College, that's right. We weren't yet hunks, though. Where were we? That's for serious.
It's a knife at the holder.
Somewhat subjective. So, computer printout flyers, realized people had a need for the service. They thought the name was catchy. Omar ended up writing a business plan our senior year of college, and it won an entrepreneurship competition. And I remember he called me, I think somewhat jokingly, was like, hey, I'm going to put you down as the president of the company for this business plan. And I took it literally like, okay, so when are we starting?
Yeah, like business? We're ready to roll.
Yeah. So we graduated. We actually got regular jobs briefly and then said, you know what, let's make it a year-round venture. I remember emailing Omar and being like, hey, what's our timeline for making this year-round? And he was feeling the same way, emailed me back. My timeline's right now, exclamation point, let's do this. I think there was a lot of skepticism. People were like, you're going to quit your jobs to do what? Haul junk? And, it's going to be called College Hunks. Are you really throwing away your degree to start a trash business and a moving business? And, I think a lot of times if you have a summer gig like that in college, you stop when you graduate and you go do the real world thing. We decided to see how far we could take it. And I always tell the story in the early days, we'd be driving the truck, answering the phone. We bought a 1-800 number, put it on the back of the truck to make ourselves look bigger. People would call the 800 number to complain about driving, and we'd be in the driver's seat pretending like,
it's actually, I'm going to have a stern talk with that employee when he gets back to the office.
Yeah. So the 1-800, it was to you guys. So it's directly to you guys.
That's right. That's when we realized, had this epiphany that we needed to do something different. And that's, we read the book, The E-Myth, which is kind of like the starting guide.
What's this book that you read?
Entrepreneurial Myth. It's about why small businesses tend to fail. And it's usually because the business owner is doing all the work. They're answering the phone, they're driving the truck. And in order to succeed, the business owner has to work on the business and not in the business. And that was, I think, a big paradigm shift for us where we're like, oh man, we really need to change how we're doing things.
So I want to go back because I thought I knew the story, but now I didn't realize that you guys actually had other jobs before this. What were the other jobs?
It was a brief window.
So I worked, this is the most, picture the most boring job you can think of. I worked at a healthcare research firm. He worked at an economic consulting firm in downtown DC, and our offices were across the street from each other. So we would have lunch breaks, come outside, into the plaza and be like, man, we got to do this for 30 more years.
We got to get out of this.
This is going to be tough. And the Office Space movie, all that stuff.
Oh, it's so funny.
It's exactly how it was. Yeah.
So I want to hear about the trajectory of College Hunks, right? So you guys get going. The 1-800 number calls you. You read this book, have this epiphany. When did you guys realize, like, hey, there might be something here, and really kind of turn on the jets? Like, when did that happen? When did that conviction really occur?
Yeah, I would say I describe College Hunks as a viral brand. Sort of when Facebook was starting, College Hunks started. So Facebook started 03, 04. College Hunks started, call it 05. So early on, the brand was just catching a ton of attention. People would take a picture of the truck and share it on social media. It was this just very colorful brand. You see it. It was a pattern interrupt. So early on, it was gaining a lot of attention. It had a lot of sizzle. So we were growing very, very rapidly from the onset. I think it wasn't until, I'd say 2012, 5, 6, 7 years after we started franchising the business and putting real systems in place that we had kind of the stake behind the sizzle. So our brand was always a little bit bigger than we were. We were getting a ton of media attention. We were on the first episode of Shark Tank and a ton of press. But then when we really started to focus on people and getting A players on the team to build systems, that's when the brand exploded.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, I call it, we both call it a 20-year overnight success. So it really, has been a slow evolution. There's been certain, I would say inflection points where it's had a big leap and a big step change in its process and systems and structure and success. But literally, I attribute a lot of it's just brute force and an unwillingness to quit.
The hard work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nick, you guys didn't raise money for College Hunks for a while, right?
That's right. Well, until
actual growth equity.
So you guys really, I mean, this is a true bootstrap company, and we'll get into Trash Butler, which is a little bit different. What's it like bootstrapping a company from nothing? I mean, you say 20-year overnight success story, which is funny to hear. Brute force, all the things that we look for in entrepreneurs when we invest. What's it really like to bootstrap a company from zero?
The quote I think I remember Omar saying is, it's like lighting your hair on fire and trying to put it out with a hammer. So there's no hair. Omar has no hair.
The bootstrap company, what it looks like.
That's it right there.
But no, I think the reality is we were trying to figure it all out ourselves, and everything was like, okay, we can't make big bets, so it's all about making small incremental bets. I think Jim Collins calls it, bullets then cannons. So we would as entrepreneurs, we have a lot of shiny object ideas that we would pursue, but we weren't, I guess, fortunate enough, and probably for the better, and for the safety and security of the business, able to make those big investments early on. And so I think it forced us to just become more disciplined. I think it forced us to become resilient and gritty and resourceful. Franchising, which was ultimately our path to grow.
That's where I was going to go next. How did you guys decide that you wanted to franchise?
So franchising is almost like a micro funding strategy, because every time somebody buys a franchise, you're getting a small injection of capital. They're owning that business in that market and paying us a royalty stream. But I would say when we got into it, we probably had a bit of a naive view, almost a glamorized view of what franchising was. It's like you heard about McDonald's, you think, it's this is easy. We're going to collect passive income, and there's nothing passive about franchising. And so once we started down that path, we were so far down and we were like, okay, we can't turn back. Let's keep going. And I think we've made it to the other end of that canyon of franchising. But that's all.
Yeah. One of our mentors describes franchising as a get rich slow scheme. It takes 20 years of just ongoing effort and investment and development to truly break through. People naively think, and we were one of them, hey, I'm franchising, I'm going to be printing money, I can sit on the beach and have franchisees doing the work. It's not like that. It's not like that at all.
I think it's different if you're McDonald's and you have an established brand and then you have franchisees. You guys were the franchisors. I mean, this is a company that you guys started, so you had to build the whole playbook, right?
That's right. Yeah. We had to, you hear the analogy, you're building the plane in flight without a parachute. That's kind of what we were doing.
Yeah.
We got into franchising, maybe even prematurely, because we only had that one location.
Definitely premature.
Where was the first location? Was that
Washington, D.C.?
D.C. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And so I sold our first franchise to a buddy of Omar's from college, whose family had owned different franchises. I sold him almost like the whole state of Florida. So we had to bring that, scale that back.
Gave him a good deal early on.
Over time. And I don't think he had the cash to buy. He traded us some random land in Central Florida for it that we still have, and I don't think it's appreciated in 20 years. But yeah, so I think the systems that you build in a business, whether you're franchising it, whether you're scaling it through investors, or whatever the case is like the foundation. And we read a lot of books in those early days and tried to apply what we were reading, whether it was Jim Collins' Good to Great or the E-Myth that Omar mentioned. So I think taking some of those kind of foundational principles of, purpose-driven business, values-based organization, delivering on a brand promise, that gave us, as Omar said, the stake that became kind of the secret sauce behind just the sizzle of a catchy name and bright orange and green colors.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the sizzle. And you guys, in my opinion, are some of the best marketers I've ever seen. I mean, you guys have the TV spots with Shark Tank and with Millionaire Matchmaker. You guys have a great name for yourself and have built an amazing brand. How important has that brand building been to the success of the business? Nick, if you want to take that.
Yeah, well, for us, it's been almost everything. I mean, as a consumer brand, a consumer service, which is kind of at our core what we are, we're trying to do everything we can to create awareness and top of mind awareness so that if somebody is searching on Google and we pop up, there's some familiarity already. They've seen our trucks, or maybe they saw us on Shark Tank, or maybe they, saw us in some other publicity article or what have you. And I think we realized that lesson early on. There was a Washington Post reporter who saw one of our signs in the first summer we started and called us up and was like, "Hey, what is this college hunks hauling junk? Can I follow you guys around on the truck and write an article about it?" And we're like, "Hey, yeah, sure, why not?"
Sounds great.
And we would come to jobs because this was kind of just as Omar mentioned, people sharing stuff virally on social media. And people would have the article printed out on their fridge being like, "Oh yeah, I cut this article out because I read about it and realized I needed somebody to clean out our garage. Why not this cool story of guys that started in college?" And so I always say, like, some entrepreneurs, I think, maybe have a hesitation of, promoting themselves too heavily. They don't want
self-promotion. They get nervous about it.
They don't want to seem shameless or, but I always say,
not us.
No, but if then you're going to promote yourself, who will? Especially in the early days. You've got to evangelize what you're doing and be so confident in it that eventually others are going to.
And it goes back to you being bootstrapped, right? We didn't have the money to spend on marketing and advertising. So the way to get in front of people was through earned media, through PR. And so we would find these little kind of crevices in PR or TV shows that we could get into and promote the brand. Being on that first episode of Shark Tank was transformational. People still talk about that.
Totally.
And that didn't cost us anything to get on there. So it's a huge part of our business model is that publicity.
And you guys are like the OG influencers, right?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Before it was a real thing, right? You guys were doing that.
But I do think that there's probably also an enamorment of, that's a word, entrepreneurs, of trying to like get something to go viral or trying to get something to like make a huge splash. I think our experience in PR is like no one PR event makes a brand.
It's got to be that repetition. It's got to be that repetition.
You don't know if something, probably like with content creators know this, like they don't know if something's going to catch fire and get all the eyeballs that they've been looking for, and something's just going to kind of fall on dead ears. But it's the consistent effort of putting in the reps to try to get the word out there, try to get the name out there that, starts to compound and create more widespread awareness.
Yep. If you guys had to go back up 15 years, would you do anything different? Would you still have the franchise? Was that the model that you guys would go with? Anything, obviously hindsight 2020, but you guys have learned so much as entrepreneurs, like anything that you would have changed?
I would say there's really not anything I would change because it sort of led us to the path we're on. But I think the key that we realize now more than we've ever realized is how important people are. And it's sort of the who, not the how, which is a book that we've read that really talks about, instead of founders and business owners and people asking, how am I going to do this? It's who am I going to bring onto the team that's going to get it done? So I think obsessing over A players and getting A players on the bus, keeping them on the bus and pointing them in the right direction.
Yeah, and to that point, I think that comes really naturally to some business leaders. I don't think it came as naturally to Omar and I. Like we were just trying to plug holes in the wall that was leaking.
Still do. I mean, we're still like, I'll catch us in text where we're like talking about how, and I have to check. We have to check each other. Yeah. No, it's not us figuring it out. It's who are we going to get to figure this out.
And don't just get enamored because somebody's got something on their resume that says they did it. Like really dig into the evaluative aspect of it. Yeah. And also give yourself some grace. I mean, look at the pro sports teams. They mess up their draft picks and they can see the person playing on the field. Yeah. They can do all the different psychological, physical tests that are needed to evaluate. And still they have failed draft picks.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I saw a statistic that it was even Fortune 500 companies get it right 6 out of 10 times. Or 3 out of 5 times, whatever the percentage is when they're hiring key hires. So you're going to fail quickly and keep it moving.
It's interesting. I had this on my list of things to ask you guys. Several years ago, we did an interview. I believe it was the three of us at Synapse, which is a local tech conference, or maybe Omar was just you and I. But I said, you guys have an amazing culture. It's like a family. And he goes, no. It's not a family. It's a team. Let's dive into that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, to put it simply, I would say teams win championships and families watch people win championships. And that's not a knock on families. It's that if you're going out and trying to win, You don't want Uncle Joe at shortstop. You want your best. You want your best of the best.
You want Derek Jeter at shortstop.
Yeah. And so teams hold each other accountable. Teams have tough conversations. Teams get rid of bottom performers. Teams understand that, hey, even though I'm performing really well, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be the starter. So I think it's all of that makes us a team. And I describe College Hunks as a leadership factory. We get great people with A player potential or A players on the bus, and we develop them to become great leaders.
Love that.
Yeah, I think that, couldn't have said more beautifully. I think a lot of times, actually another quotable from Omar is, you got to have the right balance of Wall Street and Sesame Street. And so if you're too Sesame Street, no knock on having the warm and fuzzies, there's no accountability. Yep. There's no level of performance-based toughness. You don't fire Uncle Joe because he's family, right?
Yeah.
But like, you have to, if you're building a world-class organization, have also a level of performance-based toughness. That doesn't mean that you neglect people. You're warm on people, but very black and white when it comes to the numbers.
Yep. No, I love it. I want to pivot to talk a little bit about Trash Butler. Trash Butler is a business that Florida Funders Fund 1. It was our largest investment in the fund. Company's doing extremely well. We've been invested since about 2019. You guys are laser focused and were on College Hunks. And I know the story about how Trash Butler came. How did that come about? And what allowed you guys to say, you know what, this opportunity is big enough to really divert some of our time and energy to think about it?
Yeah, so I think as entrepreneurs, we sometimes have a tendency to chase shiny objects. I say that, we have ADD, stands for all damn day. And sometimes that works to our advantage. Sometimes it works to our disadvantage. And we had sort of seeded this concept of doorstep trash service for apartment complexes. We saw that it was fragmented. It was a decentralized labor force. It was something that we were accustomed to building like we had done at College Hunks, but it also had some appealing elements to it, recurring revenue, kind of a streamlined, repeatable process. So we sort of incubated it on the side as a side venture, and that sort of slowly grew organically over time. And we were at a bit of a crossroads at College Hunks where we put really talented executive leadership in place. And I think our excitement to try to pursue something new was itching at us. And we said, well, we've got this business that's kind of grown organically. What do we put some more firepower behind it? And so we decided, well, instead of trying to grow it over 20 years, let's accelerate that growth, bring in some strategic investors that can help provide value, not just capital, to help the business grow more quickly. And as you mentioned, it was 2019, right before COVID. So we were able to kind of navigate those COVID waters, navigate as we're, the climate we're in now, kind of high interest rates and, some slower, growth. But the business has grown meaningfully over time. And I think when we first started, we thought it would be a tuck-in for College Hunks, but we realized very quickly, like, College Hunks already is kind of riding two boats at the same time between moving and junk removal.
Yep.
Third, if you talk about franchising, introducing an evening time service like Trash Butler was a little bit outside of its sort of core sandbox. We decided to make it a separate brand, separate business, separate group of investors and cap table. And it's been fun to be part of that ride as well.
Absolutely. And when you guys look at the really fundraising path and the journey of both businesses, 20 years, bootstrapped, banging your head against the wall, losing your hair, everything we talked about to get to the success on the Hunks side. Trash Butler raised outside capital. And I know that was the first time that you guys had done that. For our audience, like, what are some of those core differentiators and what are some pros and cons about taking on equity financing from an institution compared to bootstrapping?
Yeah, I mean, I would say bootstrapping taught us what we needed to know and gave us the confidence that we could go out and scale a business quickly. Raising money allows you to scale faster. That's really what it comes down to. You get strong advisors and people on the board that know how to do it, and you've got ammunition, and then you go. So that's to me, the big difference. I think bootstrapping was the lesson, was the MBA, and raising funds is the lighter fluid or the rocket fuel.
Yeah, I will say it was a relatively steep but quick learning curve for us to learn raising capital. How do you value a business that isn't quite profitable yet? How do you evaluate investors that you're going to
terms, all the different terms, like,
it's a whole nother world.
The term sheet,
Totally.
the
we didn't have ChatGPT. You could just put it.
It'd be a lot easier.
Right?
Yeah. And then I think also the dynamics of a board room, having to not answer to, but answer with and collaborate with another set of partners that aren't in the day-to-day. We had to navigate that because a lot of times as sort of bootstrap founders, it was kind of our show to run.
You make the decisions, you make it happen.
Moving a lot of times on instinct.
Totally.
It's been a huge asset, though, I would say. I mean, having a board at Trash Butler now at College Hunks, like getting that perspective from people that have done it before, is just... It's
forced discipline also.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, it's institutionalizing what you guys had learned and done for so long and really like packaging that up. Hey, we're ready for this next thing. We always tell entrepreneurs, if you don't have to take on money, don't take on money. But if you want to accelerate, you want to hire quickly, you want to get to a win or a loss faster, like that's where taking on money makes a lot of sense. All right. Let me ask you guys about Tampa. Okay. You guys are the two of the biggest proponents of Tampa, just like we are, myself and Tom. Why is Tampa a great place to build a company, to be here, and to really live, like we do?
I think since we moved down here in 2008, and it's still to this day, I describe Tampa as big city amenities, small town comforts, and conveniences. We grew up in Washington, D.C. When we started franchising, we needed a more supportive business community, someplace with a little bit better cost of living, better weather, friendlier people. So we did some research, and Tampa checked all those boxes, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And obviously we've been part of the evolution of the city since then. It's been fun to watch and know people that are really literally building the city from the ground up and kind of creating the next evolution. We were grateful to be a part of the resurgence and recovery of the hurricane, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So I just think it has a lot going for it, beyond the airport and the weather and the beaches and everything like that, and the cost of living. But I think it's a supportive business community. I think, people aren't stepping on each other, try to knock people down. They're sort of supporting people and helping people grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we're all 1 degree of separation from each other. Everyone's a phone call away. And like Nick said, I mean, there's a vested interest in supporting one another.
Totally.
And feel that.
And there's kind of an underdog pride to the city too,
Agree
right?
with that.
Yeah, there's a chip on the shoulder a little bit, like, people outside of Florida and even in Florida kind of write Tampa off as...
Why are you moving to Tampa?
Yeah, why not Miami? What's going on? It's South Florida. That's where all the action is.
Why not Tampa?
Yeah.
And I think now, I'd say now it's really starting to come on the radar for other people. I think 5 years ago, maybe not as much, but,
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been here, what? 15 years?
Yeah, since 2008, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that I got introduced to you guys when I first moved here, like, you guys were already killing it with the business. I was a nobody entrepreneur bringing a tech company down here. But to have that support of the community, to bring, people like us together, that doesn't happen everywhere else, to your point, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that collective team, I feel like, of Tampa.
And I think it's really a great home base too, like, because you can go visit other big cities and have that big city experience, or other countries, what have you. But there's nothing more, in my view, relaxing than coming to Tampa. That's the best. You're like,
the airport's easy. You get your bags. You're like,
All right, you mentioned the movie. How can people watch it? It's fascinating. It's great.
Yes.
Where can you see it?
So we created a simple short form documentary. It's less than 10 minutes, so you can watch it in a quick sitting. It's called Hunks vs. the Hurricanes, and you just go on YouTube at this point. Hunks vs. the Hurricanes.
Hunks vs. the Hurricanes.
Mayor Jane Castor's in it. Meteorologist Dennis Phillips,
Weatherman
and my
Dennis.
wife has a big crush on. I've heard a lot of wives have crush on.
You have a bobblehead, actually,
have a
at your house,
Phillips
I noticed
bobblehead.
this weekend.
And it's a great story. Yeah, 10 minutes shows the resilience of Tampa, shows some heartfelt stories of actually one of our hunks that lost everything, and the perspective of the mayor, and then Dennis Phillips, who's tracking the storm and the second storm. It's a great watch.
And from the film, what I got was the mayor reached out to you guys because you guys had the trucks on the street and said, we need you guys. And you guys stepped up.
Yeah. I think you got a text message from Mayor Castor. It's not something you get.
Omar called me, and then
how you know it was a real text? How'd you know it was like a bot?
She's like, "Hey, Omar, this is Mayor Castor. We need you." I was like, "Oh shit, okay." I guess we gotta go help the city. But no, I was glad we could do it.
It's awesome. And thank you guys for that. I know Tampa thanks you so much for that. All right, so College Hunks firing on all cylinders. Private equity recap a few years ago. That business is doing well. Trash Butler doing well. Got a new executive in place there. Kind of take that to the next level. We're thinking, what's next for the OG College Hunks? I mean, what's next for you two?
For us?
Yeah.
Need a break.
No, I think
you need to get a hair transplant.
first place at Circuit.
Right, with AI, you guys can't edit that.
Oh no, but I think at this point, yeah, we've got, to your point, 2 thriving businesses. We've got investors in both companies.
Yeah.
I feel there's got to be a monetization event, probably first with Trash Butler. That's probably reaching. I would sure Florida funders would like to see some nice outcome there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we want to try to drive that to across the finish line. I think we'll always have chips in both of those businesses and an involvement in some capacity, whether it's board seat, spokesperson, ambassador, because both of those have become part of our professional identities. So I think that's the focus point. If there's other sort of nuanced elements that I could be integrated into those 2 businesses, for example, with Trash Butler, some additional service lines that we could either acquire or build to service our core customer in the multifamily space, at College Hunks, whether it's storage, long distance moving, some other ancillary solutions. I think that's the key that we're focusing on for now. Once we have those monetization events, then I think we can become, a little bit more active on the investing side and board seat side with additional businesses. But we still have 2, I'll say, pretty good horses that we've got to feed.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that you'll go and start another business? Is operating from start to finish something that you guys will do?
It's so funny. That's like asking my wife, do we want to have another kid? I've got 4 kids.
He's saying he's got 4 already. So.
And I've joked, hey, should we have a 5th? And her answer is hell no. That's not considered. Starting a business from scratch is probably one of the most difficult things anybody can do.
For me, I can speak for myself. Starting being in operating companies is probably, it's like sports, right? You only have so many
much in the tank.
and years in the same gadgets and just like,
And probably we can evolve our experience, wisdom, and skill set to bring value without putting our hair out with a hammer, so to speak.
All right. Our last thing we always do is the lightning round. Tom typically does this, but I'm going to take his place. I'm going to ask you guys some quick questions, quick answers, and we'll go Omar to Nick to Omar. We'll bounce back and forth, but we'll get an answer from both of you on this. So today it is give or take the end of August, the week before Labor Day. The price of Bitcoin is floating right around about 115,000 per coin. If you look out 1 year, where's the price of Bitcoin?
150.
150K. 150 pops in my head, but I'll say 151.
The price is always right.
No,
the price is always right. All right. We're living in the dawn of AI. AI is everywhere. We're using it daily. We already talked about ChatGPT. We're using it in our businesses. A lot of people are scared. AI, job destroyer or job creator? Nick?
I would say job enhancer.
Love that. So I would say potential job enhancer, but trades, businesses, Google can't move their stuff with robots yet. They're going to need movers. You can't haul your trash with robots yet. Can't do a roof. You can't fix your toilet. So I think you're going to see a huge sort of push into the trades.
Got it. Love that. Robotaxi war. You've got major players like Waymo and Tesla all over this. Who wins the robotaxi war?
That's one.
I'll say Tesla. Speaking of movies, I just doing another movie, this one about Elon Musk, so I'll have to say Tesla.
Oh, there we go. Is that a little preview?
A little sneak
preview. Sneak peek. Love that.
You know what? I'll go Tesla.
Tesla?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Hey, guys, this was amazing. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for allowing us to join the ride with Trash Butler. Could not be more excited about that business. If anybody has any questions for these guys or wants to learn more, please just reach out. If you enjoyed today's episode, throw us a like, throw us a subscribe on YouTube, and we'll see everybody here soon. Thanks again, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.